Welcome into the San Francisco 49ers Report. My name is Chase Sr. Hope you're all having a fantastic day. Coming up, my keys to the game for this Monday Night Football game between the Niners and the Panthers. I'm going to give you my prediction as well. Top matchups to watch. We'll break that down and what the Niners must do in order to be victorious to move that record to 8-4 on the year. How the Panthers stack up on offense. Carolina, 18-8. Points per game, 28th in the NFL, 314.3 yards per game. That's 22nd. 5 yards per play, 26th. Third down conversion rate, 36.9%. That's 24th. Their red zone touchdown scoring rate, 54.2%, 20th in the NFL. On defense, 22.6 points per game allowed, 13th. 325.9 yards per game surrendered, 15th. 5.6 yards per play, that's 23rd. Their third down conversion rate, 43.3%. That's 29th in the NFL. So the Niners going to have an opportunity here to move the chains. And then their red zone touchdown scoring percentage is top 10 as a defense. Number 9 there at 52.9%. As for how the Niners stack up on offense, 15th in points per game at 23.7. 10th in yards per game. They've been moving it at 349.4. 13th in yards per play at 5.5. Third down conversion rate, third best in the NFL at 45.6%. 62.5% is their red zone touchdown scoring rate. That has gotten higher, especially after what the Niners did against the Cardinals last week. And then you look at the defense. 22.9 points per game. That's 15th in the NFL. To be there with all these injuries and young players playing, hat tip to Robert Saleh. 25th in yards per game. That's fine when you're not giving up a lot of points and buckling down in the red area. 25th in yards per play at 5.7. Third down conversion rate, 40.7%. It's 22nd best in the NFL. And their red zone scoring percentage, 16th, 58.9%. So my keys to the game for the Niners to be victorious here. Some of my top matchups to watch. I'll tell you this. The pass rushing units for the Niners and the Panthers absolutely stink. If you are somebody who loves watching dominant pass rushes and watching teams hunt and get after the quarterback, this game is not for you. Because these pass rushers have really struggled to get pressure on the opposing QB. The Niners this year, total sacks, they only have 12. It's 32nd in the NFL. Their second best sack producer is Nick Bosa. He hasn't played since week 3. Total pressures, 107. 26th in the NFL. The Niners have 79 hurries. It's 29th in the league. Their pressure rate, dead last at 26.23%. The Panthers' pass rushing stats, not much better. Total sacks, 16th. Total pressures, 142. That ranks 30th. Total hurries, 90. That's 25th. Their pressure rate, just north of 38%. That's second to last in the NFL. So Bryce Young, Brock Purdy, these are numbers that you like to see because that means usually you will have a clean pocket. Another thing with the Niners, intermediate to long passes since Fred Warner has gotten hurt, they've been one of the worst defenses in the NFL, giving up a lot of explosive plays. Bryce Young hasn't been able to really find it all year long, has an opportunity to find it against the Niners here. Key to the game number 2. This Panthers offense runs through Rico Dowdle. And I was surprised that the Cowboys let Rico Dowdle go. They needed a running back. Now they've replaced him with a running back who has ended up performing pretty well. And I guess it's worked out for both parties. But for Carolina, Rico Dowdle's been awesome. Javonte Williams with Dallas, he's been good. But I think Rico Dowdle's been better. And you look at the rushing yards leaders in 2025, nobody outside of Jonathan Taylor had this list looking like this going into week 12. And with running backs, so much can change year over year, of course. Now, Jonathan Taylor is leading the NFL in rushing yards at 1,139. James Cook is a stellar back. I didn't expect him to be number 2 this year, 968. Devon Achane, 900 yards. He's number 3. Rico Dowdle, Fourth leading rusher in the NFL with 833 rushing yards this season. And then Javonte Williams there at 809, the aforementioned Javonte Williams of the Dallas Cowboys. Rico this year has had some splash games. For the most part, this Niners rushing defense has improved from last year. Against the Rams, they were not good. And without Mykel Williams, I think that's an area where they could continue to struggle because Mykel Williams is such an excellent run defender. But Dowdle this year, if you don't bring it as far as your rush defense, he'll make you pay. Back on October 5th against Miami, 23 totes for 206 yards, 9 yards per carry. Against the Cowboys, a little over a month ago, 30 carries for $183, 6.1 yards per carry. Against the Packers, back a couple of weeks ago, earlier this month, 25 carries, 130 yards, and 5.2 yards per carry. That is a big reason why the Panthers have been able to find success with what they're doing in the ground game. They've had to rely on running the football because Bryce Young has been not good this year. Not going to say terrible, just hasn't been that good. He's completing under 63% of his passes. He's thrown for less than 2,000 yards, 14 touchdowns, 7 picks. He just looks small, can't really drive the ball, doesn't move around, doesn't see the field all that well. Now, what Niners defense are we going to get? This is a Niners defense that did give up 488 yards last week to Jacoby Brissett and the Cardinals, 6.9 yards per play. Jacoby Brissett dropped back 57 times. The Niners only pressured him 13 times, did not have a single sack. They gave up 452 passing yards. The bright spot of that Niners performance, the improvements against the run, which in the week prior against the Rams, it killed them because the Rams were able to control the game. That's what happens when you're able to run the ball successfully and on defense when you can't stop the run. So 14 carries for 36 yards, 2.6 yards per pop. I imagine the Niners are going to sell out in trying to stop Rico Dowdle, knowing they can't allow the Panthers to get that ground game going, knowing that Bryce Young throwing it this year has had some issues. Now, this Niners rushing defense all year, yeah, not bad. 13th in yards per rush at 4.1. 12th in rushes per game. So teams are running at a decent amount, 25 running attempts per game. Rushing yards per game, total, 103.8. That's 12th in the NFL. Key to the game number 3. This Niners secondary has to bring it against Ted McMillan because the Carolina Panthers found a guy in Ted McMillan. The rookie first-round pick out of Arizona, 6'4", well over 200 pounds, runs well, can go up and get it, strong arms, long frame, good wingspan, and he's going to be the number 1 wide receiver for this Panthers team for the foreseeable future. If Xavier Legette can get it together, he's been bad for the most part, but played well last week. That is a very physically imposing 1-2 punch-out wide receiver for Carolina. In his rookie season, Ted McMillan, 54 catches, 748 yards, 13.9 yards per catch, 4 receiving touchdowns, 68 yards per game. Something that I'll be watching too in this game, how will Brock Purdy look against Carolina? Because against Arizona, he was efficient. He threw with really good touch. He threw with accuracy. In his patented Brock Purdy way, he was able to layer the football. I thought he moved around pretty well. He threw some balls up for grabs, but for him to have not played since week 4 and to only have 7 incompletions, throw for 200 yards, have a quarterback rating of 133.5, 3 touchdowns, no picks, and 10.5 was the number for the yards per completion, I was very pleased with how Purdy played because he really wasn't that rusty and didn't really have to get his feet wet. I mean, he jumped right in, and on his second drive, he was, 4 of 5 for 68 yards and a 30-yard strike to George Kittle. We saw Brock Purdy coming back, brought about that George Kittle connection. He was dominant in that game, and then Christian McCaffrey running it, receiving it, he was also really good. I do have a prediction for this Panthers game. Breakout performer on Monday Night Football, it's going to be Ricky Pearsall, I think. Ricky Pearsall didn't put up a lot of numbers against Arizona last week. But if you go back and look at the tape, he got open a lot. And there was some meat left in the bone for this Niners passing game. And at times, even when he was open, the pass rush kind of blew up the play and got to Brock Purdy. But there were times where Ricky Pearsall was able to separate. He was able to win. He was able to run filthier routes, juke out the DBs, and he was open. We have seen that Purdy has had a good connection with Ricky Pearsall. And against this Panther secondary, which is okay, not bad, not great, I think that Pearsall has a big game in primetime on Monday night. And this is an important development for the Niners here over time and what's happened recently. This Niners offensive line has improved. Now, when the Niners offensive line goes up against legitimate defenses and really good edge rushers and fronts, that's when they struggle. When they go up against bad teams, that's when they're able to have their way. But even when they go up against good teams, there are some positive developments here for this Niners offensive line. They have stabilized the left guard position with this veteran tandem after benching Connor Colby. Spencer Burford, Ben Barch have been rotating there at left guard, and they've been playing pretty well. And then another big development here is that Dominic Purdy is healthy and he's playing well. Early in the year, that knee was not right from when he got injured against the Raiders in that preseason game. He struggled mightily. Now that he's gotten healthy, he's strong enough with the anchor. The physicality and the athleticism is back. He's able to get a push, and he looks a lot more like the player who we saw last year, who was one of the top guards in all of football. So predict the score for me. Carolina Panthers, San Francisco 49ers. Always want you to join the conversation down in the comment section. The Niners are 7-point favorites in this football game. And I think this Niners offense continues to hum a little bit with what they did against the Cardinals, with them getting healthier and acclimated with one another, that rapport working a little bit. So give me the Niners 31-20.